Okay, so here was question number 1 for the quiz yesterday on adding and subtracting polynomials. So you could have just used a box. Product means to multiply, so this is just straight up multiplying. So look, 2x times 3x makes 6x squared. And then this box here would be negative 5 times 2x, which makes negative 10x. And this box here is 7 times 3x, which makes 21x. And then this final box over here is negative 5 times 7, which makes negative 35. Okay, so you can combine these terms. Because they are alike, they both just have an x. So, in other words, 6x squared and negative 35x. Just negative 35. And just simply looking at your answers right now, we can't eliminate anything yet. Because all these have 6x squared and negative 35 in them. So then we combine these like terms. You have 21x and negative 10x. When you subtract them, it makes 11x. So it's not D, it's not A. One of these says positive, one of these says negative. And so 21 is the positive one. So if you have $21 and you give 10 of them to me, you've still got $11. So number 1 should have been B. Okay. Number 2 was asking you about finding the volume of the prism. And you recall from Learning Target 13 that volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. So all you needed to do here was multiply. If you like the box method, then use it. So the thing that I saw most people just make a simple mistake about was that I think they maybe forgot to multiply by the x when they got done. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this length times width. So 3 minus 2x on top and 5 minus 2x on the bottom. So when you do the length times width to find the area of the total thing, you come up with this as your total area of this bottom part of the box. Okay, and then you could simplify it and get 4x squared minus 16x plus 15. And then you're like, yay, I'm finished. And then you forgot about this x here. So then everything gets multiplied by an x, because length times width times the height will give you this volume. So your final answer should be this, which is answer choice number D. Okay, next question. So with question 3, they give the length and the width of a rectangular park. And this had 2 parts. A lot of people just answered one part of this question. So one of it asked about the perimeter of the given park. So if you know that this rectangular park has these dimensions, then it has to be true that these sides have the same dimensions. Okay, and in order to find the perimeter, you have to add all these sides up. So this is just adding like terms. So 3x and 2x make 5x. 5x plus 3x makes 8x. Plus 2 more make a total of 10x. And then we're going to add up these other terms. 4 take away 3, which is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. So your perimeter should have been 10x minus 2. And then the question asks you to find the area of the given park. And a lot of people answer this question correctly. Area is just doing the length times the width. So I'm going to just quickly erase these because we don't need those for area. But when you're trying to find the area, you just multiply what's the dimensions of your boxes. So 3x times 2x makes 6x squared. 4 times 2x make 8x. 3x times negative 3 make negative 9x. And 4 times negative 3 makes negative 12. Okay? When you simplify this, the answer you get is 6x squared minus 1x minus 12. Again, we've just simplified these terms here that are alike because they both have an x. So those are the answers we were looking for problem number 3. Next question. Number 4 is just a matter of matching up the like terms. So I've got 3x squared here. I've got 2x squared here. They're both being added together. That's what this polynomial is being doing. 3x squared and 2x squared make 5x squared. 5x squared, 5x squared, 5x to the 4th. So you know we can eliminate c and d. And then we're going to go on to the next term. Negative 5x. And nobody over here has a negative 5x. So negative 5x and negative 5x are still in the running. And then we've got a positive 4 and a negative 7. And that together makes negative 3. So your answer for 4 should have been A. Okay, this is question number 5, which is just talking to you about the expression represented by this is the area of a square. And the area of a rectangle here, area of a rectangle is given by this. Excuse me. So here's your square and here's your rectangle. Which expression represents the combined area? That just means add them together. Add them together. So we're just looking for like terms. So we've got 5x squared plus 2x squared. 7x to the 4th is not the answer. Okay? So a lot of people just pick that off at first glance because they saw the 7 and the x. But you have 5x squared and 2x squared. You don't add those exponents together unless you're multiplying. Okay, so A's out of here. B's out of here. D's out of here. The only one left is C. So 5 should have been C. Next question. Question number 6. Which of these expressions is equivalent to this? First of all, we're adding. Okay, so that's going to make our lives a little bit easier. 2x squared plus 4x squared make 6x squared. And so far, 6x squared is given to us in all these. Then we've got negative 3x, and we've got minus 2x. Or I'm sorry, just minus 2x, yeah. So they both have negative numbers, so that means that they're all going to be negative. All of these are negative. If you lose 3 and you lose 2 more, you've lost 5. So these two are still in the running. And then we've got a positive 1 and a negative 5. So if you owe me $5 and you pay one of them off, you still owe me $4. So that one should have been B. Continuing on with this, which one's equivalent to it? So we've got 3x to the 3rd and nothing else. It's got x to the 3rd. So you know it can't be C or D because 3x to the 3rd is got to be a part of the answer. So we're going to move to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and move to the one here that's got the squared, just because it's going in order. You can see nothing else has a squared on it, so it's just going to be negative 2x squared. And that's all you need to do because those are the only answers left. But if you wanted to continue, 9x and minus 4x make a positive 5x. And then 19 plus 1 makes 20. Okay, so 7 should have been A. Alright, so here's where it got a little bit different. You're just trying to figure out which one of these is equivalent, and so this is just following the distributive property. So negative times a positive is negative, 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 negative. So far all of them still in the running. 6 times 3 is 18. X squared times x squared makes x to the 4th power. And so far, C's out of here and D's out of here. Multiplying, remember if you'll recall from like Learning Target 9, when you multiply and your bases are the same, your exponents will add together. Alright, and then we will move on to negative 6x squared times negative 5x. So negative times negative makes a positive. Positive and positive so far. 6 times 5 is 30. X times x squared is x to the third power. And as you can see, we don't really need to go any farther. But if you did, the next term would be negative 18x squared. So 8 should have been B. Alright, so number 9 was just simplifying, and one of the things that tripped people up the most in this problem was that this is subtracting. You have to remember that it's subtracting. So let's take the first ones. We've got negative 8x squared and a negative 3x squared. But we are subtracting them, so negative 8 minus a negative 3. Okay, so this turns into add the opposite here. If you owe me $8 and you pay 3 off, then you owe me 5. So that makes A out of here, and that makes D out of here. So negative 5x squared, negative 5x squared. Those are our answers so far. Negative 5x squared, negative 5x squared. Okay? And then the next part is dealing with the ones that just have x. So this is negative 7x minus 4x. So if you were to write it down, negative 7 minus a positive 4. So this is like you owe me $7, and I allow you to borrow 4 more. So you're in the big fat hole of owing me $11. So far, what color was I? Blue. So far, negative 11x and negative 11x. So it comes down to the last term here. So we've got 10 minus, so minus is coming from here, a negative 7. And that would be add the opposite, 17. And so that makes non-B choice B. Alright, and then 10 coming up. Okay, question number 10. Given the area of a rectangle is this quantity, what is the value of the length and the width of the rectangle? So we're looking for the length here and the width here. And how you go about this is you say, well, what two numbers are multiply together to give me negative 24 and add up to give me negative 2? So I'm going to start with 1 times a negative 24. So those will give me a negative 24. But if I add these together, 1 take away 24, I do not get negative 2. I get negative 23. So that's out of here. So let's try, 2 times, let's say, negative 12. Well, 2 times negative 12 does give me negative 24. Okay, but if I add them together, then I end up with negative 10. And what if I flipped them around? What if it was negative 2 times a positive 12? Well, that would give me 24. Negative 2 times 12 is negative 24. And when I add them together, I get 10. So that won't work because it needs to equal negative 2. And the next two numbers that are factors of 24 without getting into decimals are 3 times negative 8. And these won't work because when you add them together, we get negative 5. If you moved it around and made 3 be negative, then you end up with a positive 5. So we're getting closer, but we're not to 24. And then you move on to the next term, which will be 4 and 6. 4 times 6 is 24. And one of them has to be negative. Which one of them needs to be negative in order to make this work, where it's negative 2? It needs to be the 6. So we should have said minus 6. We should have said plus 4. This would make 4x. This would make negative 6x. And when you add these two guys together, you should get negative 2x. And that's the way that you check your work. So, lengths and the widths. X minus 6 and x plus 4. You could have put these and swapped them out. Either way would have been fine. So that was question number 10. 10 was worth 5 points. Number 3 was worth 2 points, and everything else was worth 1 point. So that's for a total of 15. So that is the quiz.